one of the first things is that it probably, the hive should be facing south or east. That's because of the early sun, and so some of the books say that then you should provide a lot of shade. My experience has been that in our area they don't need a lot of shade, so they could be right out in the open. Secondly, they should be out of the wind, kind of have it blocked so that they have some wind protection. Thirdly, the hive should be level. That might be a problem with the ground frozen with snow on top of it, but particularly when you have new colonies making comb, they'll build it level to the earth, not level to the hive, always. And so if your hive sets at an angle, and that frame is at an angle, they don't build it horizontal to the frame, they build it horizontal to the ground underneath them. That's one of the amazing things I think about bees. They're capable of doing that. And so should be level. Let's see, lost. But the location is very, water. There should be some water available. And so it doesn't have to be right next to it. And avoid low areas. Temperature gradient is important. And it tends that if you have them down in a gully or something, that temperature is lower than it is up a little higher. You want good drainage. You don't want to go out there and have them sitting someplace like they're predicting this spring now, and when all the snow melts, you go out there and look and you can't get to them because they're underwater. They may even float. And so another thing is, and it's happened to me once, vandalism. It should be, so don't put them right out next to the road or something. There are people that just enjoy tipping over beehives. Just as a little side story that happened to me. I had some bees that were on a rural road, really rural, and they were off the bank, kind of, it was up. In the fall of the year, I had taken the honey off, and they were kind of ready for winter, and I went out there, and there was a real nice flashlight laying on the ground. Okay, then I looked, and one of the beehives then was shifted. And so, like being a good insect that they are, at night when it's dark, they don't make any noise, but they crawl up. And I'm sure that the bees came out underneath that bottom board where it was tipped and crawled on the ground and got inside of somebody's pants legs. And I'm sure then that sooner or later they bent their leg and pinched the bee a little. And then you can imagine what happened. And so they left, and I was a proud owner of a flashlight. Okay, so things like that happen. And I think that's basically about the location. Again, level, I think is...
How about the dust off of the gravel road and the
I'm sorry?
The dust from the gravel road and cornfields, how close to those things?
Well, you can put them as close as you want, but
Your hive is pretty enclosed. You could get some dust, having it too close. And I wouldn't have, I can't give you a distance, but I'd have them more than 100 feet from the road if I'm concerned about the dust. Cornfields, you're gonna have a hard time staying away from them very far. Bees don't collect too much corn pollen, but they will collect some if that's the only source that they have. So if they have all kinds of trees, all kinds of flowers, they'll leave corn alone.
Okay.
But the GMO thing, get that done. Bob was telling about vandalism and so on. I had this happen, not as dramatic as what Bob did, but I had some hives out, and they were out away from. I had to go 3 miles up, 3/4 of a mile up a hill, and a long ways from it. I found a cigarette in the hole with the cigarette, like the puffing. The butt end was inside the hive, and the person figured, and there is a current that the bees, run through. The cigarette had gone out, but somebody thought it'd be kind of funny to see a hive burn. And it didn't work, but they intended to. So you have things like that. There are people who will rob honey. They'll take those supers off, like Bob said. Florida is a bad place for that. There's a lot of robbing down there. And people just come and take it off at night. And they're probably a little smarter than that one was, whoever it was, but anyhow.